Welcome back to Terror Takeover, your one-stop shop for all things creepy, disgusting, and horrifying. I'm your host, Crow.
And I'm Char.
We're happy to be back. We're back in our happy
Yes.
place. And I was just telling
Yes.
you this already. You look super duper cute.
Aw,
Love the
thank
outfit. It's very
you.
like Southwestern vibes.
I know. I don't, the goal is kind of trying to be a little bit tropical because I just went to a little dinner party that was like West African themed.
Oh my
But, this was just
gosh,
fun.
that was tonight?
Yes. It was, that's why it took so long for me to get home. I went to that and then I went to go see Crazy Rich Asians at the park. So,
Oh, that's
busy
cute.
day. I know. Different
Yeah.
cultures.
Wait, so
Um,
how was the dinner party? I want to hear about it.
It was amazing. It was so nice. The venue was beautiful. It was like a
Wow.
bunch of plants everywhere and like really nice
Ooh.
mood lighting and everything. There were a lot of people there too, which I didn't know what to expect. I was like, okay, are
Yeah.
people going to show up and show up? But there was a lot of supporters. The food, incredible. Like I was
Did
blown
you take
away,
a million
honestly.
pictures? I already
Oh,
know you did.
absolutely, absolutely. My
I
story
need
is
to
just
see
like
them.
beautiful.
Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go scroll in a
Um,
minute.
it was just so I was really happy to like see Nigerian food, I don't know, brought to the masses, brought to the culture, like, and also with
Yeah.
a very like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it had like a spin to it. Like they had dishes like, so a common dish is like a goosey soup, which is like, this like ground seed that's usually put in like an okra soup or something. That's how I've always had it, but they had it
Mm.
like just circling around a bowl of rice and like really nice red snapper and like a kale salad. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh. Oh
And they had like
wow.
sweet plantain egg rolls, which I thought were the bomb, honestly, and like
Oh, that
coconut
sounds
fried
good
chicken.
too.
Yeah, they like did
Wow.
this whole mix of everything. So, and the chef was there, and he was like talking about his vision for the company and like for the
I
food dishes
love
he was
it.
making. And I was like, okay, I really believe in y'all. Like y'all are really bringing a vibe and everything. So
Right.
I'm super
Oh, that's
pumped for
so
them.
awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, what a fun little Friday moment. That's so sick. I'm so happy it ended up
Yes.
being really sick because I know that's something you were excited about and I was excited to hear about
Yes.
it. So I'm definitely looking
Yeah.
forward to like go and scroll through your story and seeing. Girl, I
Yes, it was a little
swear, sometimes
vibe.
all I have to do is just see it and I'm like, I can taste it, you know?
No, literally.
Yeah.
Whenever they open, I'm gonna have to like just bring y'all a bunch of like catering or something and be like, please try this
Oh.
food.
Oh,
But
so
yeah.
they're starting a restaurant. That's the point of it?
So they kind of already are a restaurant, but they mostly just
Oh.
throw these events every so often. They just are opening their physical location in Montrose in their neighborhood, but it's not open yet. It's going to open officially later, like I think in the fall. So
Oh,
this
that's
was just
sick.
kind of like a little preview. They had little cards where you could fill out kind of like what we liked, what we didn't like, what drinks were good, give feedback and everything. So it was really cute,
Oh.
actually. I'm like, okay,
Oh, so they
well,
had cocktails and stuff too.
yes, girl.
Ooh,
Yes, that's
love
why I
it.
was feeling myself a little too much after they had hella cocktails. I was like, wait, this is a
I
whole
love it.
vibe. I don't know
That's
what it is. I
amazing.
like go out and I get this like happy feeling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, life is just so good, and everyone is just so great, and I'm like, oh, I've just been drinking. That's
Well, I
why.
swear you don't
So
believe it, but you are
but
totally an extrovert. I
I
really
don't know.
believe
I don't know.
that.
I probably am. I am, but a very
Yeah.
wounded extrovert.
Well, they say like if you go out and like if you're around people and it gives you more energy, they say that's like a sign of an extrovert. Or if you go
Yeah.
around people and you feel like drained after like an hour or whatever, then they say that's a sign of an introvert.
I know. I never really know how I feel though. It kind of depends on what it is. Sometimes like
Well, I
events like
guess it
this, I
depends on the
go and
crowd.
yeah, I like go and
Mhm.
talk to people and I feel energized. But then after I'm like, all right. Actually, I guess you're right because I feel like half the time I'm like, okay, I just want to stay out and like have this whole like adventure all night, and then sometimes
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to be home right now.
right. I
So
feel
I don't
you.
know. I don't
Well,
know.
it
Maybe
was
I
like
lean
that
more.
night whenever I was there at the beginning of the tour. Whenever a girl, that night was like
Yes,
so dumb fun for like no
it
reason.
was
Like
amazing.
I
It was
had
a
so much
great
fun.
Thursday.
I will say that was the first day. I think that was the first day of tour, and you guys honestly like
Yeah.
set the tone for the entire rest of the tour. Like I was in the
Aw,
best mood because of that, so I'm really grateful
I'm
for that. But
glad.
that's not like for me, that's not like common like to go out and want to be
Yeah.
out. We ended up getting back at like 4 a.m.
Yes.
But like
Screaming on a
right
Thursday.
on a Thursday, but that's not normally something that like I would enjoy doing, but I think like given the right circumstances, like that
Yeah.
is just like the best feeling ever.
For sure. Especially when you're with the
Yeah.
right people and you know that's going to be
Right.
safe and a good night. Like, when
Exactly.
everything's in the
Safe
right
is
place,
like
it's fine.
the main thing for me is like safe and comfortable. Like, okay, got
Yeah.
it. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Reviving.
I have to mention, I
Yeah.
know I sound different. I did lose my voice. I just got back from tour
I
literally this
know.
morning at
14
6 a.m.
days.
Yeah, and actually I was like freaking out about it before we left, but I will say um I didn't lose my voice until the 13th day, which is like kind of crazy. I was
Spooky,
fine.
even.
Yeah, well the 13th day was like, and I was already like starting to feel the fatigue, but also I know, yeah, 13. But I like the venue we played was like kind of DIY. I couldn't hear myself like at all, so I think I ended up just like
Oh man.
overexerting myself. And then the final night I
Mm.
actually had to do completely clean vocals, which was so weird because normally I
That is
do
a
like like a harsher vocal, but
yeah.
I was like yelling and it was like a little bit more of like a hardcore punk vibe, which is not usually what I do, but it ended up sounding okay. So I feel
That's what
relieved
matters.
in a way because I'm like, it was okay, but also now I know in the future, if I lose my voice, I have another option that I can do. So yeah.
Yes. That's realistic,
Also,
honestly.
yeah, for sure. I need to like accept that that happens sometimes and not everything can be perfect 100% of the time. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think people did still enjoy the show, which is cool. So I'm happy about that.
Nice.
It's also coincidentally why I have no makeup on, because today was literally just a day of like total self
Peace.
care. I gave myself a manicure. I didn't paint them yet though, but my nails were looking
Cute.
crazy and grown out.
Oh, mine
Um,
look horrible.
got my hair done. I got a haircut. Got I like re-dyed my roots and everything, which always like
Yes, your
elevates
hair
my
looks
mood.
good.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Of course, I had to get a little tiny art girl bang. So,
I love it. I'm like, I think it
girl,
definitely suits you. I know you
thank
love a bang,
you.
so I'm
I
happy for
know I can't. Well,
you.
I also noticed I always get bangs in the summer for some reason, which is like a horrible move.
I know the sweat. It's gonna like. Well, one of our friends just posted like a little spray or something that they use or
Oh,
they're planning on using for the summer. So
oh wow.
I'll send it to you and ask them and be like,
Yeah,
"Is
please
this like an
do.
anti sweat bang thing?" So I don't know.
Oh, I think I
One of your
saw that.
coworkers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The anti. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I
Yes.
have that actually.
Oh, girl,
Anyway,
you're already ready.
a
We're
girl, I have
gonna
a million and
bang
one
out.
different like hairsprays and different products because of the bangs. But
Yeah.
yeah, bang girls get it. Bang girls get it. But
Get
anyway,
it.
oh, I
Yes.
wanted to mention throughout the tour, I actually had several people come up to me and say, "Hey, like I'm a regular listener of the podcast," which was super exciting.
Oh my god,
Yes, yes,
that's
it was so exciting.
so sweet.
So I
I
just want to
love
give you a shout
that.
out. If you're one of the people that mentioned it to
Thank
me, thank
you.
you so much for letting me know. This is our baby. Like this
Yes.
means so much to me. And anytime you guys like acknowledge its existence, it like warms my heart. So
Absolutely. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
So
thank you
glad
guys
we're,
so much.
making a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah, and actually last night in Dallas, we did a little interview, me and Tyler, and the guy who was putting the
Nice.
interview on was like, "Do you guys want to plug anything?" I said, "My goddamn podcast every
Terror
time."
takeover. Y'all better
Yeah.
tune in.
I
Hell
said, "You better
yeah.
listen to the girls
Absolutely.
chat." But
Yes,
anyway,
the
I
girls are
love it.
here. That's amazing.
Absolutely. I love that we haven't scared you guys off yet.
Yes. No, no, that would never happen. We're just fun and we like cool
I feel like
stuff.
it. I feel like we
So,
never say anything like super crazy.
yeah. I mean, who doesn't love two best friends just hanging out, being
Just
cute
chopping it
together?
up, just being crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
Yes.
do we have any horror news for the week? I admittedly did not even bother.
Oh shoot. I had some, but now I feel like it's too late. So I didn't write
I
down some rules.
know. That's my
I know
bad.
that The Strangers Part One is out right now, and I've heard
Is it
like good
out?
reviews from people. I maybe not like everywhere, but one of my friends that lives in
Oh.
California went to a theater and they had like people dressed up in strangers outfits. So I
Oh
think
my
it did
God.
drop. Maybe I know
Oh
I
my
should know
gosh.
that better.
Okay.
I could
I
be
low
lying.
key have been constantly thinking about like dressing up like one of the strangers.
The family.
Like for wouldn't it be so cute
Ah,
for a photo
no,
shoot?
that would be a vibe. Absolutely, and have people dressed like in normal clothes too, who are just like, I would love that.
Yeah. Oh, I guess. Let's see if we can find out. Are you out,
Yes.
strangers? Chapter one.
I
Oh, yeah, it
think.
is out. Oh, okay. It's out like in
Yay.
theaters. I didn't realize. I don't know
Well,
why I
that's
thought it'd
on
be
our
like a
list.
VOD thing. Yeah.
I know.
Oh
I
my
love that. Am I the
gosh.
only person who doesn't say VOD? Someone else said that to me earlier, and I was like, "What are y'all
I
talking about?"
only started using it because of the podcast. Like I didn't even know what that
Really?
meant, but it's basically
Oh
like
my
streaming
god.
services
Yeah.
essentially.
I mean that's fair, but I was just kind of like, oh, y'all grown. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I might
Okay,
have to
I do
go
have
see
some.
it.
No, we should.
Oh
I
yeah, well
watched
you're
the
in
trailer.
town.
You could. You'd be good. We could do it. That'd be
Yeah, let's
fun.
do it.
I watched the trailer and I was like, okay, I love the original Strangers. Like it was really good. I thought it was well
Yeah.
done. I remember thinking like at the end being like, oh, I can't believe how this twist got me. I always know what
Yeah.
the twist is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, I didn't know if this new one was going to be a complete spin-off or like a remake, something totally different. I think it's
Right.
something in the middle. Like I can see the same scenes in the other movies, but it's with a younger cast and with a more modern cast. I'm kind of like,
Yeah. I'm
but
excited.
it could be
Yeah.
good. I'm gonna keep an open mind to it.
For
So
sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah. I'm not mad about it. I don't know why. Like I kind of see this like being a good move. Like it feels a little bit like it's going to end up getting into purge territory, to be honest. But
you think
um
probably
yeah, I mean, I just feel like
franchises are a
it's
big deal.
right, right, right. But I'm excited to see how it goes. So let's just leave it at that.
Yes, yes. I think also that movie in a violent. There is a movie called In a Violent Nature coming out May
Yes.
31st. Very excited
Yes.
about that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody's been talking about it. That's the one where it's like from
yes,
the perspective of the killer, right?
yes, yes. And I think it's supposed to be maybe a spin-off of one of the Jason movies, but I don't know any of that
Oh,
lore at all. I don't know if that's true or not. I feel like people
right.
just threw that out there. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think it'd be awesome to see a movie from a killer's perspective. We basically never get those. So I
for
think it'd be really,
sure.
really cool to check out. I'm
Well, that's what I
excited.
love so much about Argento films is a lot of the time it's from the perspective of the
Oh,
killer because like it'll basically just be like the scene of the girl like you'll just see the girl running away from like first person and then you'll just see
my
like a
God.
hand coming like toward her like so I think that's pretty
Oh,
cool. That's one of my
ah.
favorite things about them. Yeah, but well, about
Maybe
some of
we
them,
should do an
but
Argento deep dive next, actually, because
absolutely.
I'm down for that too.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah, that'd
exciting.
be
I would love
fun.
that. That
Yes.
would warm my heart. And it's been a while since I've rewatched all my favorites, so I'd love to do that. But yeah, I think that's
Yes.
gonna be sick. I was seeing some like stills from it, and it looks pretty cool. I will say, like the critic, I guess critic reviews just from probably showings at like what do you call them, like film festivals and stuff,
Yeah.
seemed a little bit mixed. Like it seemed kind of like people were on the fence about it. But
Hmm.
I, at this point, I've seen enough movies that I've thought were masterpieces that have like awful reviews. So I
Yeah.
definitely am. I'm gonna keep my my mind open about it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I don't even read like critics' review just because I don't want to get that like, oh, I don't want
Bias.
them to, yeah, that bias essentially. Because you
Yeah.
just want to go into it being like, all right, I'm gonna check it out for what it is. Because
Right.
people's opinions will really take over. So, um,
Absolutely. And I like to read them after the fact. Like I'll wait
yeah,
until
yeah.
after I watch the movie.
But we're also doing a really good job of developing our own opinions and kind of like keeping out the noise, even when we have to discuss it for our
Yeah.
podcast and everything. So,
Absolutely. Well, that
yay.
was something that we were like kind of at the beginning we were like a little bit concerned about like
Yeah.
letting,
Going against the grain.
exactly, but at this point I really just do not give a shit. I'm like I just goddamn, what's
Period.
the point of having this like podcast if we're not going to actually like talk how we feel about things, which is a
Absolutely.
foreshadowing of how this episode is about to go.
No, literally. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Oh
Oh
my
my gosh.
god.
So this week, guys, we watched, well, actually last week we watched it, but we didn't get to record until this week. In My
Yeah.
Mother's Skin, directed by Kenneth
Yes.
Dagatan. I don't know if it's Dagatan or how exactly it'd be pronounced, but it's
Dagaton? I don't know.
right, that's kind of what I was thinking maybe, but it's a Filipino horror film from
Yes.
2023. And we actually mentioned this in some previous episodes. In our, I think it was our 2023 wrapped about how we had been wanting to catch it. And I have been meaning to catch this
Ooh.
movie for months at this point.
Yes.
So I really wanted to love it, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
I
um,
didn't know it was a Filipino movie until I started the movie, by the way. I was like,
oh,
oh, okay, like
really?
what's yeah, I didn't read anything about the movie before. I just like hit play on Amazon essentially.
Oh
I
my
don't know if you read the little
gosh.
blurb, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was interesting to like kind of hear the other languages and the cultural experiences between Filipino people and Japanese people um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
during that
Yeah.
time. So let me know if it was
Yeah.
historically accurate or anything, I guess.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that they did a pretty good job. I'm not a historian or anything like that,
No,
but it
yeah.
seems like they did a pretty good job talking about like so basically the movie is set in like World War II era Philippines, in which there is a lot of basically Japanese, what do you call it? Whenever they're like occupy like not
Oh,
occupation, but when they're like
well,
occupying
yeah.
like large areas basically or villages of
Yeah.
the Philippines, and it's basically the struggle between the two cultures. But I will say that if you read anything about the movie before you watched it, you probably still wouldn't know what the fuck was going on, to
Yeah,
be fair.
probably
So,
not.
because there's kind of
Yeah,
just a lot going on, you know what I mean? But this movie is starring a lot of people that didn't really have like a lot of big roles prior to this actual film. Beauty
yeah.
Gonzalez plays Ligaya, which is the mom. Felicity Kyle Napoli is the one who plays Tala, which is the daughter. And then James Macy Estrella plays Bayani, but I don't think these two kids had like they had like a few other things on their IMDb pages, but it really wasn't much to show for it.
Yeah.
Actually, the girl who plays the Locust Fairy, Jasmine Curtis Smith, I saw the last name and I was like, Curtis Smith, Curtis
I
Smith, that
know.
sounds familiar. And I was like, wait a minute. So growing up, I watched a lot of like Filipino movies with my mom. And for anybody that
Yeah.
doesn't know, I don't, well, my mom's Filipino, and I don't like
Yeah.
speak the language really, but um, hooray for subtitles. We watched, and even there were a
Yes,
lot of movies that I watched that I
absolutely.
didn't know what was being said, but you could kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
So there was one like actress from the Philippines that's like massive, like she's like incredibly famous, named Ann Curtis, and actually Jasmine Curtis Smith is her sister. So I thought that was really
Oh,
cool, because Ann
nice.
Curtis is more like the rom com like type, like um drama movies and things like that. And so it was really
Yeah.
cool to see somebody who looked so much like her play like this ridiculous like offhand like horror film. I just thought
Yes.
that was super cool.
That is cool.
And it was like just such a juxtaposition, excuse me, of what I was used to. Uh, so this was one of those movies that premiered at Sundance, and it was, you were talking about this before, but how they have like the midnight um,
Yes, the midnight hour
showings,
essentially.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So this was one of those movies, and it has actually a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. For some reason, I thought
Oh
that more
man.
people liked it,
I
and a
know.
73% on Metacritic. So it's
Well, I
not
feel
got
like it
the.
was popular in a way.
I feel like everybody was saying it was really good.
Yeah, it also came out during the same time as Talk to Me, apparently, which I didn't know that.
Right,
But that
right,
whole
right,
like
right,
era was pretty cool. And Amazon like purchased it obviously to put it on their streaming. So
right,
I feel like people talked about it positively. So I'm very surprised to. I was also surprised to see the bad reviews. But then again, I kind of get it too. So,
right.
well,
S-
anyway,
I don't know why my camera keeps making me blurry. I'm sorry for that happening, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about the plot first before we get into our into our
yeah,
opinions on it. But
for sure, for sure.
it's basically following this family after their father leaves, which that maybe that's something we can talk about because I wasn't really sure what happened there. But the dad leaves. It's during World War II in the Philippines, and he's like, "I'll be back. Don't leave. Don't leave." I'm not really sure why the dad leaves. Did you ever?
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. The movie just kind of like drops you in like how the
Right.
shit's already started. But I
Yeah.
usually like that, but I didn't really like that in this case because it's already like a
Right.
confusing film.
I fully
But anyway,
agree.
so this family is like occupying the home of the main characters because they're convinced that the dad like stole some gold or something. And I think the dad actually did steal the gold,
Yeah.
but he knew that. So like there was like no winning the
Which is
situation.
like
So
fuck
he
that guy because he
no,
literally like put
literally,
the
you
entire
fucked your whole
family in danger. But
family.
anyway, yeah.
Like, bro,
And
what?
then
Like, what are you
left.
gonna do? Well, I guess he apparently left to go get help from the Americans, which is I guess I don't know if Americans would help in that situation
Yeah.
at all. But either way, he like left to go find help. But then, yeah, that probably wasn't the best solution for to help the family. But
Right.
yeah, that was
Yeah, I
why he
didn't know if he
left
was going to serve or what, or if like I wasn't sure what the deal was because
or
they
bring
don't
them
like
back.
really well they don't really like make much like obvious in this movie, so it's a lot of it you kind of have to
No,
figure out
no,
yourself.
yeah,
Basically, the mom starts getting sick, and it's probably tuberculosis.
yeah.
And which
That
fun
was random
fact,
as well. I don't know why she just like started just getting sick out of nowhere.
yeah,
Essentially, like
that
what
was
the
the other
hell?
thing. Yeah,
Jesus!
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
It
Anyway,
yeah, a lot of like things in the plot kind of just happened with no explanation
yeah,
or prior like setup for it. Yeah, and then basically the daughter ends up making like this deal with this way sick looking locust fairy. She's actually my favorite part of the movie. In order to save her mom's life. And she actually, I think that Jasmine Curtis Smith was kind of like the highlight of the movie. Honestly, I think that like all the like locust and bug imagery is like really sick. I thought the
yes,
costuming for her was like unreal. Like I thought they
Yeah,
did an
they were
amazing
beautiful.
amazing job. Probably spent the majority of the budget on that, if I had to
Yeah,
guess.
probably. I mean, the dress really came alive between the locusts and like the really nice fabrics that they used, and
Yeah.
then it all like still had that creepy kind of decayed look to it as well. Very much,
Yeah.
honestly, I could easily see her at the Met Gala this year. She would have slayed, killed
Yeah.
it, crushed the little Garden of Life theme. So just
Right.
putting
Well,
that out
even
there.
whenever she was like
But
smiling and just like kind of being calm, like it still was like, oh shit, like this is
unsettling.
unsettling. Yeah, exactly that.
Yes, yes.
I thought that was really, really cool. Okay, and let's go ahead and get into it. So we watched this movie mainly to celebrate AAPI month, which, if you don't know, it's Asian American Pacific Islander, right? Am I getting the acronym right?
Yes.
But anyway,
Yes.
month basically. So, hi, Filipino person. We're watching a Filipino movie. Hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So I hate to say anything bad about this movie, but
Aw.
newsflash and spoiler alert, I will say bad things about this movie because I have to be honest. Also, it kind of goes along with our Mother's Day theme, which we were supposed to watch a
Yeah.
different movie for this week, but that's
I
okay. This one
know.
actually is like perfect for both
Yeah.
themes. Um, I wasn't crazy about this movie. I'm going to be totally honest. I think there were some things that were really cool about it. I think that the plot had potential to be really interesting, really
For
unique as
sure.
well. I think the visuals were done beautifully. I think the cinematography was incredible. I don't think the plot made very much sense, as we've kind of like alluded to.
Yeah.
And also this is more a term like in the like video game world, but I felt that this was like fully a walking simulator. Basically half the
Real.
movie was just like slow scenes of people walking toward something that's supposed to be horrifying.
Yeah.
And then the scenes that they actually like the scenario that they pulled up to like wasn't ever as scary as it should have been for the like
Yeah. Very
10-minute
anticlimactic.
approach. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very rarely like scared. I don't think I was ever scared throughout the movie, actually. I was
Yeah.
disgusted at some parts, like in the
Yeah.
beginning. But
Right. Yeah,
but no,
absolutely.
everything that was the lead ups were always kind of like, okay, like all right, like the
Yeah.
candy,
The
like the
candy
little,
part.
like there was a part where the daughter like walks into a forest and she's like walking, walking, walking. There's like a little I guess gazebo and there's
Oh,
just like a little
yeah.
table and there's a little candy and the candy was so pretty and the whole scene was
Yeah,
nice,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like wow, we built up to this
Okay. For her to
forever,
eat
you
some
know.
candy. I will
Yes,
say they
yes,
have some scenes that are kind of thrown in that like the scenes that should have actually been scary in my opinion seem like they just happened like that. Like it was just like, okay,
yeah,
now this is happening, you know? And it was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
how does that happen when you had like 10 minutes to prepare for it?
Like please,
Right. Well, and I
yeah,
was saying that that I think that if it wasn't for those long drawn out scenes, I think that they could have used all of that time to build backstory, which this movie
for
desperately
sure.
needed, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was
Um,
hard to connect with the characters because it just felt so
yeah.
random that everything just happened, and the pacing was really awful as well.
Right,
But
right,
anyway,
right.
continue.
Yeah, well that's basically how I feel about that. I would say that would love to have more backstory for where the gold came from. That was another thing. It was like you stole Japanese gold. Okay.
Yes, like
Um
yeah,
maybe it
yes,
could have like explained a little bit about how he came into contact with it or like,
yeah,
things like that or
yes, and who the other
um
woman in the house was, and why like her story was
yes.
even relevant. Like, no offense, but like, dang,
Yeah.
what? I didn't even know they were
Right.
cool for half the movie.
Right, because her whole thing was like trying to find the gold so that she could like so that the guy would tell her what happened to her husband, which
Yeah.
come on, dude. Like, I mean, it seems so obvious
Like,
that
be
things
so
were
for
not going well for
real.
him. Yeah.
Like, it's over. It's over.
He's face
Like,
down in a
what?
ditch somewhere, right?
Like,
Yeah.
literally, yeah. It was just very strange.
Yeah, it was extremely extremely weird. I do think that the scene in which where basically the fairy is like, "Hey, you have to make this choice whether or not to let your mom be sick or like to let this locust like take over her body." I thought that was cool. I think the concept is really cool and they could have done a lot with
Yeah.
that. But I will say like there was so much that could have been done differently as far as like the mom like turning into the locust or whatever. Like she kind of just
Yeah.
became like a vampire
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very strange.
Right, which is could be cool on its own, but it's like if you're gonna lean into like the bug shit, like lean into
Yeah.
it all the way. Like have but like locusts like swarming from her mouth or have her like grow crazy, like
Yes.
fully go the fly with it. Like have her
Yeah,
transform into a
absolutely.
fucking insect, like make it
Hell yeah,
disgusting.
why not?
They had opportunity for body horror there that I think was
Yeah.
like sorely missed in my opinion.
Yeah, they kind of did like a little bit with like the weird neck shit, but they really didn't go as far as they could
Right.
for sure. But I don't know
Yeah.
if that's just like not something that the film directors were into, I guess, because it seems like all of
Right.
the everyone that was affected by the locust was the same way. They all had that weird like I need flesh right now moment. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't even know if locusts are blood sucking insects. I should have looked that
I
up before
don't
I agree with
I
this.
wouldn't
I don't think they
associate
are.
them with that. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
associate them
yeah,
with just being like noisy, which could have
yeah,
been
yeah.
another thing. They could have like
That's
incorporated
true.
that somehow, like some like
Yeah, horrible
horrible, like
sounds.
deafening sound, but it was just the mom like basically just screaming and throwing up all night, which sucks, but it
Yeah,
was also like,
yeah.
okay.
Like, all right, well, that's
Yeah,
life, unfortunately. No, I'm kidding.
right. Um, Another thing
Yeah.
I think that could have been improved as well was like honestly the relationship between like the parents and the kids. Like it
No,
just
for
kind of
sure, for
well,
sure.
it didn't really seem like you didn't really feel sad for them. You know
They
what
didn't
I
feel like
mean?
a close family. I
Yeah.
feel like the children actors honestly didn't do terrible. Like I always think
Yeah.
kid actors when they can like
Right.
even do a role, it's pretty good. So I
At
appreciate they
all.
did
Yeah.
it.
For
But
sure.
I do feel like I never felt any chemistry between even the two of them between each other. Like I never felt like this is my brother. I love him. I gotta
Yeah.
save him. And like yeah, I felt like she always talked to her mom like, okay, mom, like you're here, mom. We need to leave the house, mom. Like
Right.
we
Right.
can't be friends
Right.
anymore. Like not even like a negative way, but just felt like they were just I don't know, almost like reading a script to each other. Like it just never
Right.
felt connected like it should. So I
Absolutely.
totally agree with you. Honestly, it
Yeah,
was
what you
very
were saying with
strange.
like how the daughter was basically talking at the mom, it was just kind of like you never felt this like feeling of like the mom was doing this to save her kids and like doing this for them and for the good of the
Yeah,
family. Like it literally just felt like why the fuck are you doing this stupid thing, you know? Like it wasn't you
yeah.
didn't have that essence of like desperation. Like you didn't feel
No,
that. I think the plot would have set up for that really well in my opinion.
it should have. I think it's pretty much integral to the plot. Like she's doing all this stuff for her mom, but you don't even get
Yeah.
the vibe that she cares about her mom at
Yeah.
all. Honestly, like it just doesn't. It didn't read over honestly.
Right.
And then
Absolutely.
it's not till later in the movie, but when everything just kind of like goes ape shit at the end of the movie, essentially, where
Yeah.
everyone's like dying left and right and stuff. I just remember being like, this just feels more like chaos than like agony. Like I just wish everyone would just
Yeah.
shut up and stop at some point. So it
Right.
was weird, very weird. Unlike
Ugh.
most horror movies, where you're like, no, my main character died, or like, or oh no, this horrible thing happened. Like there was just none of that
Right.
for me.
Okay, this isn't even really a spoiler. Like, I mean, you have to know it like from the moment you see the dog the
Yeah.
first time. But that was like the saddest death for me.
Right, right. That was probably the only person, like the only thing I cared about. I swear,
But
because
I
he didn't
will
do anything
say
wrong.
I honestly think that almost it would have been like pretty unexpected to just let the dog live because at this point it was
Yeah,
just like we saw that coming from a mile away. Like literally
yeah.
from them showing the dog the first time, it's like, oh, that dog's definitely getting
Oh, that's
fucked up
it.
later.
Yeah, literally. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how often pets make it in horror movies, but I don't keep my hopes up usually,
I
just
never do.
because
I'm just like, here we go. Here's a cheap shot
we're
that's
gonna
about
kill
to
the
happen.
dog.
Absolutely.
Thankfully,
Um,
cats usually make it. Not always, but
oof.
a lot of times they do.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
always, though.
Yeah, there was a movie we watched recently that I was like, "Oh, no, 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 the cat survives. Idle hands." I was watching it and I was like,
Yes.
"Oh, Charlotte's not going to like this part," but actually the cat does
Girl.
survive. He's
Yeah.
just
No, a
butthurt.
cat got fucked up in dog tooth when
Full
I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Like, real
Yeah. Well, that
Anyway.
show that I was watching for a while, Brand New Cherry
God. New
Flavor,
cherry flavor? Yeah.
yeah, that's literally that entire show is cat violence. Like,
Wow, that show was strange as hell. I still need to
yeah.
consider it, but I don't.
It's a
I don't know
lot,
if I'll ever watch it.
honestly.
Honestly, it's
It's one of
honestly a
those
lot.
shows that I was like, I would give it a solid like 7 out of 10, but I don't know that I would actually recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's a real like vibe. There are some stuff
Yeah.
that we've seen at this point that's like, yeah, I watched it, but I can't honestly tell you to watch it. Like,
Right. Yeah. Like,
you
for
know,
me,
it
it was
was
a
a thing.
decent time, but for you, you probably just watch like True Detective or something.
No, literally, yeah, lighter murder content.
Yeah, right.
Did you feel like this movie was almost like? I mean, I hate to compare movies that aren't even really that similar, but obviously we were both really crazy about the medium. We felt like it was super well done, super
Hmm.
interesting. I thought this movie was just like a not even like a cheap version because it's a different story, but just
Right.
like the very opposite of those kind of movies, I guess. Like it's a very bad version of a foreign horror film. Not very bad. Makes
So
it sound terrible, but
here's where I'm going to go on it. I think that the medium did basically, and I don't mean to just suck the medium's ass, but the medium basically did everything right when it comes to folk horror. Like everything
yeah,
right. Because and then especially if you're thinking about like, okay, the culture was very like I'm not Thai, but just as far as what I know, the culture was very accurate, and very
yeah,
culture rich as well. I will say that as far as just like horror in general, as far as a movie in general, that makes it so different from this one is every single character had a ton of backstory. Every single
yes,
character's like entire story was fully fleshed out. So you genuinely felt horrible for everything that happened to everyone throughout the entire movie, even the people that
yeah,
weren't like good characters. It was
yeah.
like, oh my
You
God,
still
like this
cared
is
about their
such a
life.
travesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Um,
pacing was well done, so you were never like bored or just
100%.
sitting there. Like you were really following the story and following these people's
Horrified.
lives. You know, like you were getting a
Horrified.
little window into people's into a moment. And yeah, you
I'm
also were horrified
so
most of
happy
the
we
time.
watched that one. Yeah, I'm so happy that we watched
Yes.
that one, especially together because that movie is like honestly like that's such a masterpiece to me. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say that this movie, In My Mother's Skin, was like so absolutely terrible. I think there was
Yeah.
some
It
really
wasn't like
good.
that bad.
Right. There were some parts about it that were redeeming. Like I said, the cinematography was amazing. That actual like fairy character was totally
Yeah.
freaky and
I love that
gorgeous.
concept.
Yes. Love the idea behind it. Love what this could have been. I just think
Yeah.
that um, there was a lot of wasted time, which made the movie boring at times. Literally, and I hate to say this, but and I hate to admit to it honestly, but I literally had to hit that like fast forward 10 seconds button so many times.
Man, I
Like,
believe it though. That's what
I
took
would
me so
press
long
it
to get through
once. I would
it.
literally, it'd be a scene of like someone coming up the stairs and I'd press it once and she'd be like 2 steps up. I'd press it again. She'd be like a few more. I'd be like, come on, dude. This is
Man.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is insane.
absolutely.
And I don't mind a slow burn. It's not my favorite, but I don't mind one. But this was well beyond being a
Yeah.
slow burn.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
wasn't even a slow burn. This was just like they didn't even light
Snail's
the candle,
pace.
girl.
Yeah.
Like it was yeah, it was dragging, honestly. And I don't know. I don't know if this guy's made other movies since or before that one. I'm not saying that he should never make a movie again, but just like
Right.
yeah, just
I
there's
would
just
say
things that we're
learn.
missing that didn't
Learn
come to
from
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say for
Need to
like
learn.
and I'm pretty sure from what I remember, let's look it up just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure this was like one of his first, if not. Okay, yeah. So he has which honestly he's from the same city as my mom, which is exciting. But
I didn't know that. That's so
yeah,
cool.
Cebu. But anyway, so as a director, he's only directed 5 movies.
He also wrote this film, directed and wrote it, so that's interesting as well.
Got you. Let's see. So Sanctissima is one that he did, which he directed and wrote. Actually has a 7.8 out of 10, which is much higher than In My Mother's Skin. So, oh, it's a short film. So maybe we should actually watch that one and talk about it later. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's mostly short films, actually.
So
Let's see.
yeah, he probably this was probably his first attempt at doing like a long form film and just did not know how to fill in all that extra space. Like because
That's
there's a
exactly
lot
right.
for real.
That makes a lot of
I can
sense.
see that.
So this is his second like not short film. This is his second feature
Okay,
length film. And I think that you're 100% correct. That's probably exactly what it is. He's probably more known for do or more comfortable doing shorter films, which actually I think In My Mother's Skin would have been an incredible short film.
for sure, for
Yeah,
sure. It could
so
have
that
easily been just cut it down like 30 minutes, and it would have been a great little movie. Honestly,
yeah. So I think you're 100% right. That's like a really good analysis of that situation. But yeah, this other one that he did, which looks to be just from the poster, another horror movie, had a lower rating than In My Mother's Skin. So I'll probably check it
oh,
out just for fun one
okay,
day. But yeah,
yeah.
it
So
seems
this guy's
like
still finding his footing. Nothing wrong
yeah,
with that. Everybody can't knock it out of the park first
absolutely.
take, you know.
Hey, we did an entire episode on John Carpenter who had like quite the rocky
Yes, he had
ascendance
his ups and downs for
and he's
sure.
like one of the most prolific horror directors of all time. So I think that the morals of like basically loss of innocence were pretty like pertinent.
Yeah,
I think that that was definitely something that shined throughout the movie. But it
yeah,
definitely I don't think it needed to be a feature length film like we were
yeah.
saying.
And also, I guess being wary of help, maybe in a way, not be wary of
Yeah.
help, but like
Or where
the
it's coming
fairy.
from.
Yeah, yeah. Like she always offered like to make things better, but obviously at like a really high cost. So be
Right.
careful what you wish for type vibes, which that
Absolutely.
can definitely be a little bit overdone in its own way. But I thought it was nice to add the whole fairy element to the locust and kind of like
Yeah.
what the actual consequences were. So
For sure.
yeah.
For sure. Other than that, did you have anything else to add?
I don't think that I did. I think I touched on everything I wanted to say. Just that, like,
Yeah.
I usually like folk horror, so I did enjoy that it was like mostly set outside. That they did incorporate a lot of bugs and other creepy,
Yeah. I do
crawly
love
things
stuff
into
like
the
that
film.
too.
I actually did not know they were locusts at first when I was watching the movie. I was like, "Are these cicadas, beetles? What the hell are these?"
Are
So thank you for
cicadas and
knowing
locusts
that.
not the same thing? I don't know. Are they different?
Girl, I don't know anything about bugs. I don't want to know anything about bugs. Like,
Yeah.
gross.
Say that I think that folk horror is really growing on me because of you, like because of like your recommendations
Aw,
and stuff. And honestly,
yay.
I like really love it now. Like anytime it pops up, I'm like super stoked to watch it. So yeah.
Yes, there's just something about like an old. I'm not really into like old timey movies, but I do like the idea of like an ancient curse or like I don't know the horrors of the
Ooh,
forest type
love a
vibe. So just
curse. Yeah.
yes, yes, we love a curse,
Yeah.
Patty.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
but no,
anyway.
it was all right. It was a good time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if it's like so. We wanted to originally do like a mother horror type thing,
Yeah.
so this was one of the movies we chose. I don't know if it fully captured that, but it was still worth
Yeah.
checking out. I'm glad that we did. So
Yeah, I am too. I think that we should I would like to watch more like Filipino horror because
for
obviously of
sure.
my heritage. So I am happy
Yeah.
that we did that. Is it my favorite one? It's not. I would say would I recommend it? Maybe. I would say if you're interested in more historical horror, I think that this could be something that you'd really enjoy. But I will say that I am looking forward to see what this director does in the future.
Yeah.
Hopefully he learns a little bit from those like long awkward scenes and kind of improves upon that a bit because the cinematography was great. The story honestly was great. It didn't really need much other than backstory and exposition
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, other than that,
Cool.
it was okay. Basically, is where I'm at on it.
Yeah. It was mid. It was a
Yeah, it
mid.
was mid.
You know, mid in the most authentic way, not in like a that sucked
Absolutely.
way.
Yeah,
So.
literally. So, anyway, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and close up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you again for being patient with us while we're
Yeah.
doing all our traveling and things like that. We love doing this. It means a lot to me that a lot of you guys have been reaching out and letting me know that you've been listening. That
Yes.
always
And
just
sending
like,
suggestions. We love that too.
yes,
We take them seriously,
we
for
do.
real.
We absolutely do. Yeah. Thank you so much. Just a reminder our email is terrortakeoverpod@gmail.com. We did get a couple of suggestions through email before, which is so fun and exciting. I love when we get this. So thank you
Yes.
guys so much. And until next time, bye. See you later.
Bye. Bye.
Oh my God.